everyone, and welcome to the Lazy Knitter Podcast episode 8. Today is July 31st, 2016. My name is Renee. You can find me on Instagram as Renee_Kies, on Ravelry as Alazybeauty, and I also sell my knitting and crochet patterns on Ravelry. A little thin on the crochet side right now, but I'm hoping to get more crochet patterns up sometime in the future. You can find my patterns by either searching for Renee Kies in the pattern database or by clicking through from my profile page as Alazybeauty. This episode is late. 2 weeks late. I'm not even quite sure why anymore. At first, last week Fleece was still going on and went until the 24th of July, I think, 24th or 25th, I think 24th. And when I was supposed to record, it was really hot here. Suddenly we had summer in the Netherlands and it was over 30 degrees Celsius. And the week before we'd still been around 15, 16. It just suddenly got really warm and my body doesn't handle that very well. I don't handle the heat well in any situation, but a sudden change like that and it just completely threw me off. So I spent most of that week sick in bed I couldn't get rid of the warmth. So I was overheating and dehydrated and it just wasn't very pretty. So I spent most of my time either in the shade outside with my spinning wheel whenever possible, or in front of a fan. And I learned a neat trick for anyone who also doesn't like the heat that much. If you put like a frozen water bottle in front of your fan, it will actually cool the air and not just blow the hot air back in your face, which it really helped. So, and I also learned to freeze my pillow. It sounds gross, but it's really nice. It keeps it from heating up as fast as it usually does when you're lying on it and you're warm and stuff. So that got me through. And then it cooled down a little more, and then suddenly we had another hot day and I was completely thrown off again. And then even though it cooled down, it was again a very rapid change from hot to not so hot. I think it dropped about 12 degrees. It was about 20 degrees on the cooler day. Still not quite cool, more my type of hot, but it's such a big transition that I don't deal with it very well. And then last week when I was supposed to record, and it would have already been 2 weeks between the previous episode and this one, I had some technical difficulties. I was recording and I record on my iPhone because it records in higher quality, 60 frames per second and 1080p and stuff like that, compared to my laptop, which is a little older and it doesn't do that well. And if you saw the first 2 episodes, I think that was with my laptop. But my phone suddenly had decided that my email on my phone, which shouldn't be more than 1 gigabyte, was 34 gigabytes, so the entire memory was full. And I don't have that much email. I don't email a lot, especially not compared to my mom and dad. They email a lot more, and their mail app with a lot less data on their phone. I couldn't do anything with my phone. It was completely full of memory, and it took a while to fix, I'm sorry. And by then it was so close to the next recording day and I was busy for the rest of the week, so I just thought, okay, I'll push it 1 more week. I hadn't had that much to talk about during the last recording, so because I had recorded the episode, it just wasn't on my phone. But I hadn't had that much to talk about. With True to Fleece, I've been spinning mainly and not knitting as much. And even though it's over now, I still haven't cast on much, so I still don't have as much as I usually do. But I have a lot of spinning to talk about, and I did a lot of shopping. I'm sorry if the lighting is really weird. I can see I have a mirror right there, so I can see myself. So if I'm looking a little over the camera, I try to put it at eye height, but then I'm out of the frame. But if the lighting's real weird, it's a little overcast today, and sometimes it's suddenly really sunny and then it's gone. I tried closing the blinds, but then it's really dark, so I'm hoping you can see me. You'll be able to see the knitting and the spinning, and that's what it's all about. So let's just jump right in. Finished object. My first finished object is my Molly Weasley blanket. If you've watched the podcast before, you'll know that is my mitered square blanket, one of those that everyone is knitting. I completely understand why. They're very addictive, very fun. I'm at my parents' right now. I decided to leave my blanket at my apartment when I came here because I was bringing my spinning wheel for True to Fleece and I was bringing a lot of fiber. And the Monday Music blanket, mine is gone pretty large. It's almost 8 rows. I have 4 more squares left to go on the 8th row, and it's 26 squares wide. So it's almost 200 squares, and it's just gone really bulky. Even if you fold it up, it takes up half a bag, and all the minis take up another full bag. I was already bringing so much, I couldn't bring it with me, and with the heat, I wasn't going to knit on it anyway, so I decided, okay, let's just leave it at home. So I will show you that one next time I've knit on it and have it handy, and I will show you then. I think I knit about 8 to 10 squares. As I said, I was about 1/3 into the 8th row, and I have 4 squares left to go in that row. The next one is also something that I can't show you because I wore them without thinking about it, and they're in the wash. I showed them to you last episode. I was knitting on a new sock design, a pair of shorty socks. I've now dubbed them the Run Wild socks, and they're actually already in testing, and the test is going very well. I think there's 3 people still knitting, but they're flying through. They're a lot quicker than I imagined, because I knit on them very sporadically, so I don't know exactly how long they'll take, but people seem to be flying through them, and people really seem to be liking them, so I'm very happy with that. I think this is my most successful test so far. Yeah, there's just a lot of interest in the pattern before I've even released it, and I've never had that happen before, so I'm very curious to see how these do. I've already decided they're going to be released around the 10th of August, which is when the test wraps up, but I might release them a few days early, just because I can. And I've already decided there will be a coupon code. I'm not sure what yet. Probably just Run Wild, to keep it easy. So when the pattern is released, enter code Run Wild and you'll get 50% off. I'm thinking of pricing them. There's 5 sizes, but they're shorty socks, and they're not as they weren't as much work for me as long socks, and I tend to price them by the amount of work, the amount of sizes, that sort of stuff. So I'm thinking I'll price them at around €3.50, and then with the 50% off, I'll probably let that go for about a week or something like that. But more info on that when it happens. It's not now. I think I'll probably announce that in the next episode, so if I don't have unfortunate technical issues again or don't get sick. You never know. I hope not. But the first one, I'll insert a picture here of the first pair I knit, because I knit a second pair as well. The yarn is Woolbutt Calgary, and yes, the yarn name really is Woolbutt. It's from a German store called Büttinet. So, but, because you spell it with double T, and wool means wool. So, the name is logical in German, but it sounds really funny when you say it in English. I can't not think but every time I say it, so. Woolbutt Calgary I didn't write down the colorway, but the green gradient one. The yarn is sold in packs, and you can select different types, and then there's multiple colors of each type. So the Calgary is like a gradient type yarn. I knit the socks mainly on 2.5 US 1.5 needles, but the cuff is knit on 2.25, which is a US 1. And then I knit a second pair. It's also a finished object. I wrote my show notes last week when I was recording, but the technical difficulties got in the way, so these were not finished then. They are now. But again, I didn't think, and I've already worn these, so they're a bit loosey-goosey on the sock blockers. But I hope you can see these haven't even had their first bath yet, so they're still a little uneven in the arch shaping section. These really do need a bath, and I forgot this yarn. I had learned this on the previous, these were scraps. I have about 5 grams left now, so I used them very well. The rest can go in my blanket, but I need a pair of socks for Sock Madness out of this blue, and I forgot that it bleeds. So by the time I took these off, I hadn't given them a bath. Dumb. My toes were blue. And I had a nice blue line around my ankle. But the main feature of these socks is this little flap at the back of the heel, which cushions your Achilles heel. And the arch shaping, which make sure it really fits your foot well and doesn't go sliding around in your shoe. I designed these to be sort of activewear socks, or for sneakers or other shoes where, or other times when you can't wear your long socks. I used to wear a lot of commercial socks, but since I've started knitting socks, I've gotten a little, I don't want to wear my commercial socks as much. I prefer wearing my hand knits. And I only had really long socks, and you can't wear a nice dress and slippers, or well, you can't wear socks and slippers, but sneakers and really long socks. It isn't always good. So I decided, okay, I need short socks, and I had a pair of commercial socks with this flap, and it was really comfortable. So I thought I would try and make something like that out of hand knits, to knit something like that. And I'm really pleased with how these fit. This is my second pair. I think I will be making more. Shorty socks are just very useful in summer, I think. And I think my feet really like wool, because wool is very good for wool is good for activewear. Yeah, you have special activewear sock yarn too, which I might give a try. But I think I would, for example, could wear these when working out, because I just prefer the feeling of the wool socks on my feet compared to regular socks. But I'm not sure. I'll have to give it a try. They stay very well put in my sneakers. They don't go sliding around, and I really do like the fit of the little flap. Works in progress. Well, originally it was these, but I cast something new on last night. I've been having a really hard time since the start of Tour de Fleece, figuring out what I want to knit on. I think I had this last year as well. After Sock Madness, my mojo just sort of disappears, and I don't want to cast on anything, even though I want to cast on all the things. I don't cast on anything. I don't know what I want to knit on. I'm bored with my works in progress. I'm just sort of lost after Sock Madness, because it's a few months of just socks, and you have to knit a certain pattern. You don't have to think. You have to do exactly what they say. It's very easy, but after that I just sort of fall into a hole, like I don't know what to do. So this year there was Tour de Fleece, and I was spinning, and now I fell into an even bigger hole. But during the Tour de Fleece I didn't want to knit, because I want to spend all my time spinning. But now that's over, I want to knit a lot of things, but I haven't. So I have one whip. I cast on last night. I'm glad I finally figured out something to cast on. It's a very squishy yarn. This is Julia. I have the tag here somewhere. I seem to have disappeared it, never mind. It's a very cheap yarn from a chain store here in the Netherlands, Zeeman. They have acrylics and stuff like that, but they also started adding wool blends. And this one I am particularly impressed with. I like their acrylics too, by the way. They're really good quality acrylics. I've crocheted a huge blanket out of their acrylics, the Royal line, for anyone interested. About 2.5 years ago. It was one of my first projects, and it still looks just brand new. And it's been in the washing machine, and it just holds up very well. But this is Julia. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. It's a bulky weight, and as you can see, it's quite loosely plied. It's really soft, very, very soft, and I think very warm. And I thought, I've never knit a proper sweater. I want to knit a sweater with this. This is going to be so cozy when it gets cold. So I found something, and let me see, here's the pattern. This is the sweater I am making. It's called La Fleur. It's by Alina Schneider. The pattern is written for worsted weight or Aran weight yarn. Like I said, the Julia is a bulky. So this is my first sweater, and I'm already making kind of some big changes. I decided that for fit I would like the size medium if I knit it exactly as written. The size medium would be slightly oversized but not too oversized. I think I would like that. But because I'm using a bulk yarn, my sweater is going to end up bigger because I went up needle sizes as well. The pattern has to use a 4.5mm and a 5.5mm, and I'm using a 5.5mm, which is US 9 for the ribbing, and a 6mm or a US 10 for the body. My sweater will end up slightly bigger, and the size S should fit me, but it'll have less needed ease. So I think with the larger needles that will end up being just right. It looked really small at first, but now that I'm getting into the ribbing, it has really interesting ribbing, by the way. It's a moss rib. I never heard of that before, but I really like it, and I think I might have to use it for a sock design because it's really fun to knit, very easy, and it has a very fun effect. Yeah, that's about all I got on that. I really want to keep knitting on that. I think this will be my main project for a while. But I still want to cast on a lot of things. I have patterns printed and ready, and the yarn is ready, the needles are ready, but I just haven't cast on yet. It's really weird. It's not like me. But that was all I have for works in progress, so let's move on to shopping, because I have a lot for that. I'm sorry if I feel like I'm rushing. Sometimes I talk really fast. I think today is one of those days. I'm keen to show you all of my things today. I was so sad when the recording crapped out last week. I'd been on a roll. I'd been entertaining, I think. I felt spontaneous. I had fun. And then it had crapped out. Sorry, I shouldn't say crap. I'm sorry. It had stopped recording before all the good bits, and I tried redoing it, but then my phone stopped again. And I only noticed 20 minutes in again. I should have checked before. I'm so stupid sometimes. But yeah, the second time round it didn't sound half as good. I can't remember what I told you in the part that it was still on the phone. And I couldn't remember what I said before, and it just sounded very fake, and I didn't like it. And then it turned out I couldn't record anyway, so I just stopped. Shopping. Let's start with that. I have a lot of fun stuff. Let's start with one of my favorites. This gorgeous little wolf yarns. A squirrel sock in the colorway Leaf, which was a Sockman as 10. This year's Sockman is exclusive. This suddenly arrived in the mail from the States, and I had no idea it was coming. I had one prize during the Sockmans, but I'd already received that, and I didn't know I was getting something else, and I still don't know why I got it, but I got a second prize, and I asked if it was a mistake, and nobody says so, so I guess it's for me. It's a really gorgeous green. Green and blue are my favorite colors, so I'm very happy with this one. And I actually, it's a tonal green, it's really gorgeous. And I actually already have an idea of what I want to do with this, and I gave you a hint last time I recorded, but the phone was already off, so nobody knows that. But I'm going to be using this as part of the design as the contrast color. And I will give you one hint again. It is themed. It will be released around December, and it has to do with decorating. I think you can guess where I'm going with that, right? Green, decorating, Christmas. Yeah, this yarn feels very soft. I have some of her I have some yarn of hers, but I've never actually knit with it, so I'm very curious to start knitting with this. It feels very nice. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. I'm building a yarn fort around myself. You guys can come with me. And then I placed an order from Farah. If you've watched the podcast before, you'll have heard me talk about her before. She had an offer going where if you ordered for over 20 euros, she gave you free shipping. And shipping a package in the Netherlands, within the Netherlands, is about 7 euros. And she has skeins of yarn that are 10 euros. So basically I would pay the same amount with shipping that I pay now with an extra skein of yarn. If you watched before, you know I collect her minis, and she had 3 new colorways and I had to have them. This little mini is one I have a full skein of. It's called Rocky Mountain. I've showed it before. I think the mini looks a little lighter than the big skein that I have, but that might just be an optical illusion. I don't have the big one here with me, so I can't compare. But it's a beigey brown with pink and black and orange and yellow, and just going to be very fun to knit up. And I don't have much yarn in this color, so I think it'll look good in my blanket. This is my favorite. This is, what was it called? I can't remember. A purple skein, a purple mini skein with yellow and blue and red and orange, and it's just really pretty. It was something purple, I can't remember their full name. This one is Gazette. It's inspired by newspapers. It's white with black specks, and I just thought it was really fun. She has a full skein. All of these exist in full skeins, but I only have this one in a full size myself. And then my pre-yarn. Basically, this is my shipping. This one is her basic 4-ply sock yarn in the colorway Duck, and I think you can see where she came up with the name. It really doesn't look like a duck. It's just very pretty. It's very out of my box. I don't tend to knit with browns, even though this one has some blue. I think that makes it easier for me to like. But it's just a very interesting and unique color, and I think I will enjoy knitting with this. Over there. Next. I did a lot of shopping. It's a little insane, but I had less last week, but a box just came in yesterday, so now I have even more to show you for shopping. I ordered from Hilltop Cloud. I got a letter at the end of June. In our rent, we pay for the rent I pay for my apartment, you pay a section for gas, water and electric, and it's an estimation of how much you will use every year. So if you use less, you get money back, and I got a letter saying that I got 171 euros back, which is very nice because it's basically money I've already spent, and so it's now it's just free money I can use for something nice. So I ordered from Hilltop Cloud. I've been wanting to order from her for a while, but I have ordered from her when she still had an Etsy shop, which is ages ago. But then she moved to her own shop, and I haven't ordered again, even though she has amazing stuff. So I finally took the plunge and ordered. And this was the main reason I wanted to order from her. It's a wraps per inch tool. And this is used in spinning, and how it works is that this little inch hole allows you to guesstimate. It's a little more precise than what I usually do and just look at yarn and say, oh, this looks like sport weight. It allows you to measure what weight of yarn you have. So basically you take your yarn, you wrap it around so it comfortably fits in the slot. You don't want to squish it in, you won't want to stretch it out too tight. It needs to be comfortable. You measure, then you count how many wraps are in between this little slot. And then here she has a list saying how many wraps makes what yarn weight. So for example, lace is 30 plus wraps, fingering is 19 to 22 wraps, worsted 9 to 11. And then you can sort of measure how thick your yarn is. She also included another way to measure your yarn. You lay a strand of your yarn, sort of an average you pick from the entire skein, across these little outlines of yarns, and you can see, if you can't see the lines anymore and it doesn't go over the lines, then you know, oh, it's about that weight yarn. It has it has the wrap size next to it. I was really curious to get this. Until now, I've just looked at my yarn and said, "Oh, it looks like this." And my yard is still quite a bit of a guess. I usually measure it before the bath, and it tends to shrink a little. I figured out a new way to do that as well during Tour de Fleece, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But this just helps me be a little more precise in gauging how thick and heavy my yarns are. And of course, I'm not just gonna only order this, it would be a shame with the shipping cost. I also ordered fiber. This is one I was most curious about. I've mentioned I love Corriedale. I spun it a few times now and I really enjoyed it. Actually, 300 grams of Corriedale was my main project for Tour de Fleece. And this fiber is 50% Corriedale, 25% yak, and 25% rose. As you can see, it's a lovely sheen, and I think it's the rose. It's like a white, silvery white fiber going through, and it's very, very soft. Corriedale on its own is not the softest. Soft enough for me, I think, but it's not the softest fiber there is. And this with the yak and the rose, it just softens up very nicely, and the colors are amazingly vibrant. As I said, I like blue. This is my thing. This is exactly the kind of color I like. Slightly tonal, but amazing. And I got 2 braids of this, so I have 200 grams of this, because I want to make a shawl quantity of this. I think this would look amazing as a shawl. And let's put that there. Then my second shawl quantity is a gradient braid. It goes from light to dark or from dark to light, and it is 50% Polworth, 15% merino, 15% alpaca, 15% silk, and 5% stellina. It's a 100 gram braid. I have 2 once again. It's lovely sparkly, it's a gorgeous green, and I think a gradient will make a lovely shawl as well. Let me just check if my camera is still recording, because last time has made me nervous. It's been good and it was still recording. So I just showed you the green sparkly gradient roving. And there was a third braid, a fifth braid, not third, a Okay, my phone was still recording, so I can keep going. I just showed you the green sparkly gradient braid, the Polworth. And there was also a 5th braid that I ordered from Hilltop Cloud. And I already spun that once, I'm just going to show it to you quickly. I finished it last night. I was binge watching Game of Thrones, drinking tea, and I was up until 3 AM spinning this. The second 50 grams. I'm hoping to apply it today. It's a sock blend. It's BFL nylon. It's 70% BFL and 30% nylon. And I've never actually spun BFL before, but I really enjoyed it. These colors are a little different for me, but they're very full. My first bobbin is very neat. The second one is not. But yeah, it was a little strange. The first bobbin spun out really nicely and very even, and it was just super easy. I didn't have to think about it. And the second bobbin was bit of a struggle. I have no idea why. It went thick, thin, but I'm hoping when I apply these two together it will even all out. So this one was a little thin in spots, so this is a little thicker. Should be okay. And I think I got about the same amount of yardage in both. So this will be a sock yarn, and I want to knit hand knit socks with it. I actually have a design idea for hand spun sock yarn. Because I think there are certain stitches that work very well with hand spun yarn. And I wanted to incorporate that in a pair of socks. Not going to tell you much more about it just yet because it's very much in the beginning stages. I have no idea what it's going to turn out like. And yeah, we'll see. I'm just going to try. And then yesterday, my other order came in. During To The Fleece, I had won a 20% off coupon from Alphawolla, who I've mentioned in I think every episode. I'm a bit of a fangirl, I think. I know, I'm a bit of a fangirl of hers. She does amazing colorways. She often adds new blends. She has a BFL linen right now that I want to get next time. But with 20% off, I couldn't resist placing another order. I'd spun up a lot of stash during To The Fleece, which we'll see in a bit. And I needed more. So the first one is this, and I think this is my favorite from the entire order. You can see it's lovely and curly. It's 50% BFL superwash and 50% milk fiber. A blend I haven't spun before, and it looks very soft. Oops, there's some sparkles in there. And the colorway is something German. Im grünen Dämmerlicht. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty, and it says green. I really like this one. The gradient, the shades of blue that she used are really my thing. And it just sort of, because of the milk fiber, it's all sort of more muted. Well, not this one, but you can see the white going through it, and it just makes me think of a watercolor painting, which is an effect I really like in my spinning. Let's put that over here. We're not done yet. I have many more to show you. This is 67% Falkland Merino and 33% Tissa Silk. I've never spun with silk before. It can't be that hard, can it? I really like this green colorway. It's called Green Dragon, which I think is just awesome because I was watching Game of Thrones yesterday and I just want to spin dragons now. Yeah, it feels very sturdy, quite squishy. Very different to the one I just showed you. I'm very eager to spin this. I've never spun with Falkland Merino either, so I'm curious to see how I will like this. I think it'll be okay. This one is next. This is 40% merino, 40% merino superwash, and 20% silk. In the colorway Cherry Baby. I think all of these colorways that I'm showing you are repeatable. I think Tina, if she doesn't have what you're looking for in the shop, just contact her. She's very open to working with you to get you what you want. And I think most of her named colorways are repeatable. This is a gorgeous red, purple, pink, and a bit of brown, but brownish red colorway. And I'm hoping to spin this into a fingering weight and have enough for a shawl, or maybe a colorwork section in a shawl, maybe paired with something else. I'm not sure yet, but I couldn't resist the colorway. It was just so pretty. It's not my usual. I quite dislike pink, which when you see the next braids is going to be laughable, but okay. I don't know, felt like a nice pop of color, and I thought I could use that after all the green and the blue. And then the next two braids are probably going to end up applied together. These are both Merino Nylon blends. Let me roll this up for you so you can see the colors. This is rainbow number 280. It's sort of an orange. It makes me think of sorbet ice cream. A pink, a peach, an orange, a light yellow. It's just really pretty. And then there's this one, which looks very similar. I hadn't realized when ordering that they look so similar. It's also Merino Nylon, and it's called Summer Heat. I really like this one too. But I think these will look very nice applied together. This one is like a darker version of this. Oops. So I think these will apply together very nicely, and I think that might make the yardage go a little further. I was thinking of using these for socks, but I might use them for shawls after all. The Merino Nylon is very soft, so even if you're not using them for socks, it's very suitable for shawls. And I also got a little sample in with my order. A bit of nylon, and it's super sparkly. Look at this. It's just super fun. I'm not sure exactly how to use this. I'm going to do some research. I'm not sure. I don't think you can spin nylon just on its own. But I could try making some Rolex or something. I have a boring rainbow braid that I actually promised to my mom, but she hasn't made any signs of wanting to spin with it yet. She doesn't know how to spin yet. I was thinking she always likes looking at me spin on my wheel, so I think she might like to try it. And I brought a spindle for her as well. But if she doesn't want to, I might try and make some Rolex and put this through as well. I think that would look very cool. Or some other fiber. I have plenty now, so I can do anything. Let's put this back in the box really quick, make some space. I have a huge box of fiber right there, and a huge box of stuff right there, and then there's stuff on the floor. I'm surrounded by yarn and fiber. That is all my shopping. Let's head on to the biggest section for this week's spinning. I have all my True the Fleece stuff to show you. Not all of it, unfortunately. I forgot some at home, so I didn't have it for the end picture as well. Let's start with my mediums. I mentioned last episode, I think it was, that I had these little 10-gram bumps in packets of 6 of merino, and that I was going to start a handspun blanket. Well, I'm still working on that idea. I'm definitely convinced I want to do that. So then I ordered these Dutch wool Diva bats that I think I showed you last week. Last time, not last week. And this is one of them. I'd already spun up one of them. I don't think I showed you yet. Maybe I did. But I don't have it with me, so I can't show you. But it was very funny. This was the second bat. It looked very similar to the first. It looked identical. But the first one was pink with white, and this one was just black, and it ended up a lot more purple. And it, both with Stellina, which I've discovered I really enjoy. And it ended up very squishy and a nice round fingering weight. This, I think, is sort of my happy place in spinning this thickness. And then I had a little bump of Shetland. I'd never spun with Shetland before, so I thought this Tour de Fleece is as good a time to start as any. I'd gotten it with an order from Under Dutch Skies, I think. She's a Dutch fiber dyer. She has really interesting blends as well. She has a lot of silk, some mohair, very cool blends. But she gave me some Shetland. I think it was her anyway. I'm not sure now. I'm sorry. I think it was her. Yeah, it was very interesting. I noticed that it needed a lot more twist than usual. It started to drift apart at certain points. But I'd been spinning a lot of crazy colors into the fleece. So a bit of just white. I think this is bleached. Sheep don't come this white, I think. But just a bit of pure white was very enjoyable. And then the third media I have to show you. The rest is at home. I spun 5 of the 10-gram bumps and 2 of these during the tour, but I only have these 3 to show you here. This was a sample I got in my Hills of Cloud order. It is camel, seashell, and what was it? Faux cashmere. And I thought, oh gosh, that's way too difficult for me. I can't spin that. I'm just a beginner. But the color was so interesting, and at some point I just thought, I want to try it. It feels very soft. I need to see if I can do this. And it spun up surprisingly easy. I had not expected it to be that easy. It just didn't break. It didn't ply apart. It spun to a little thinner than I had aimed for, but still thin. It's still light fingering, so very usable. And it's so soft and smooth. It's delicious. I want a sweater quantity of this. I've been stocking a web shop, but I can't justify spending more on fiber right now. I need to use up some stuff, which is why I've been spinning like crazy once again. The most luxurious thing I can think of is a sweater out of this. I would like this colorway as well, but she had a gorgeous blue in the web shop now. But I think this red would look nice on me. I used to have a red sweater. It doesn't fit anymore. Hasn't fit for a while, but I really liked wearing a bold red, and I never do anymore, so I maybe should try that. But this is sort of a reddish pink, and it had spots of black, spots of bright red, spots of white. It was very fun to spin, and this blend is amazing. I want more. But there was a small issue with these 3 minis that I was spinning here at my parents'. Usually what I do with minis is I spin them all in one go. So I have one long single, and then I wind them into a center pull ball on my ball winder, and then ply the 2 ends together so that there's no wastage. But I had forgotten my ball winder, which means it's very difficult to wind it into a center pull ball. I know you can use the Alazybeauty, and I googled how to do that, so I grabbed a wooden spoon, started winding onto it, and it was just a mess of Alazybeauty hand winding center pull balls, and it's never gonna happen. I don't get along with it. I'm now considering buying a second ball winder and just leaving it here. My parents said this never happens again because I hated it. I have the minis with me. I want to spin them, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to wind into center pull balls again. By hand, it's just, it's not for me. I really admire those who can do it now. I had no idea it was that difficult. I thought, you just roll it on. No, you don't. I ended up with tangled messes. Plying worked out despite the tangles. It took me forever to wind them, even though it's only small yardage. I'm not doing it again. I'm saving the minis for when I get back home when I have my ball winder. Or if I splurge and get one here as well, but I don't think I will. It seems so rather excessive. That's not what I was looking for. My next spinning project, this was the last one I did during Tour de Fleece, and it was a bit of a step out of my comfort zone. I've always spun quite thin, fingering weight, sport weight, something like that, not much thicker, ever. I've been spinning since January, so it's not that long, but I knit with fingering weight yarn the most, so that's what I want to spin. And I thought, well, let's try something different. I've been stalking the tags the hashtags on Instagram for Tour de Fleece and handspun, and you just see so many gorgeous pictures also of fatter yarns, and they look squishy and soft and fun. So I grabbed a braid and decided to try spinning some fatter singles and then plying those together, and this is the end result. The colors are amazing. They were even wilder in the singles, but and I considered leaving them as singles, but even though the colors have been alternating quite quickly in the beginning of the braids, at the end it was just one long run of yellow and then a long run of purple, and I didn't like that as much. I didn't think the yellow would look good on me. So I applied them together, and it's wild and crazy, and I like it. It's very squishy. It's 100% pole from Ravelry based, and this was actually the very first braid of fiber that I ever bought. This fiber was the reason I started spinning. I was so greedy, and I saw these colors and I was like, oh, I need this. And I had no spindle, I had no spinning wheel, I had no intention to spin, but I wanted that fiber, and you can't buy fiber if you're not going to spin. So I decided, okay, I'll spin. And I think I had it for about half a year before I even bought a spindle. And then I only got my wheel this November, and so it was functional in January, so it took me a while to get around to actually spinning it. But unfortunately, I went through 2 moves in time, and it got dragged everywhere, and it was only packaged in a plastic bag. It wasn't in a braid anymore. I'd unraveled it, and it got felted a little, so it wasn't that fun to spin. I had to really fight draft at some points, which was sad. I should have spun this earlier. You shouldn't save the fiber you're really fond of to spin at a later time, because you might be better. You should just spin it and enjoy it. But I do that with all things. I do the same with like Game of Thrones. I get anxious about running out of new seasons to watch, because I love it so much. So I only just finished, watched season 5 for the first time this week, and I just started season 6, so now I'm blasting through. But I kept watching from season 1 to season 4 and no more, and just saving the rest for a rainy day. But I decided, I want to see how it ends, so I kept going this time. This is the Polworth. I'm very happy with this. I think it's about, I haven't calculated yardage in this yet. I haven't even measured with the wraps per inch tool, but I think it's about 150 meters, maybe something like that, maybe a little less, of a bulky or Aran weight. Poop. Oh, I forgot something. Where are you? When I originally filmed, these were still in their skeins, but I've now skeined them up. This was my main Tour de Fleece project. It is 100% Corriedale, 300 grams from Elfa Vola, colorway Bright Agua. This was a custom dye job for me because I enjoyed her Corriedale so much. I did a waiting for rain shawl out of it, and my mom liked the colors better than I did, so I thought I'll knit a new one for myself with a colorway especially more my thing. Yeah, this spun out really easily. It was very enjoyable, relatively quickly actually, considering it was 300 grams. And I would have around 850 meters, so more than enough for the shawl. I will have plenty left over. Maybe something for socks. I think Corriedale would be fine for socks. Yeah, it was I had a little trouble in the second braid keeping it nice and even, but I don't think you see any of it in the finished yarn. The colours don't show up as nice as they are in camera. I will insert a picture of the skeins as well. But they sort of equalise in the picture, and they really are a lot more intense than the picture shows. And it's funny, it has sort of a glow almost. I think because there's some white in there as well. They weren't dyed completely through in all places, which I really like, by the way. And it now sort of seems to glow. I spent hours winding this to a ball. I don't know why, but my handspun skeins always end up such a tangle. It's not even funny anymore. I had to unravel one strand and then wind, unravel a strand and wind. I think it took more than 6 hours, and by the end I was brain dead. I did cut off a small section of this one. It was where I started plying, and for some reason I had really overplied and it was just hard and uncomfortable and not as soft as the rest, so I cut that off. It was a tiny ball, and I will probably use that for a square of my blanket or something like that. I don't think it is as hard as it feels right now. It will soften up with a wash, but I just didn't want to have that in my shawl, so I cut that off. I'll use it for something else. What else did I want to say about this? I already showed you the BFL nylon. I'm hoping to apply that after I finish recording this. Although I need to get the footage into my computer as well. I don't know, we'll see. I have more, I'm sure of it. Just a Tour de Fleece recap. This is my first Tour de Fleece. As I said, I've only been spinning since January on the spinning wheel, and on my spindle I just sort of I like it, but not all of the time, and not that much. I like my spinning wheel much better. Though I do want to get back to spinning on my spindle. There's something very soothing about just using your hands to make something. I learned a lot. I tried a lot of new different fibers. My main goal was to spin every day during the tour, and I did that. Some days it was very little, but I spun, so it counts. Before, even though I say I've been spinning since January, it would be like I spin a braid in like 3 days or something like ridiculous like that. No, maybe a little more. And then I wouldn't spin for 2 months. So I wasn't making much progress in spinning. And so by spinning every day during the tour, I really feel like I've made a lot of progress. And I really just got more used to the movements and the feeling of it, and just it goes a little easier now. Except on that second BFL bobbin, I don't know what happened there. I just was, ooh. it was just not working out quite as nice as the first one, but I like the end result and apply nice together. Other Tour de Fleece things that I wanted to mention. I had more last time, I'm sure. I didn't write it down. Ugh. I can't think of anything. I think that was it. I was participating in Dutch team, Dutch Spinners. It's a Dutch spinning group on Ravelry. And it was really sort of more casual and laid back, and there was room for your own goals, no strange challenges or anything like that. And I think I really like that. I like my own goals that aren't as bad if I break them. More than you have to do this, you have to do that. I like the relaxed feel of this one. And I think if we do it again next year, I will definitely be in. Oh, I did enter this cordial from Alpha Walla in the Alpha Walla Tour de Fleece group. That's how I won the coupon code for my new order. My weekly goals. I wanted to cast on this Waiting for Rain shawl. I want to knit on the La Fleur sweater because I really enjoy that one. And I want to cast on more handspun, but I tried that this week. I was knitting from a handspun from just before the tour, having a sport weight 3-ply. And I was knitting a midden and it was just not working out. The pattern, I should have trusted my instincts. I did the ribbing and then immediately had you start the thumb gusset, which means that the thumb gusset lasted until about here, which does not fit unless you scoot the ribbing up to all the way around the bottom of your hand, which is uncomfortable as well. It just didn't fit well, and I don't know, I don't have that big hands, but they were really short, and I frogged them. I had one mitt almost done, and I was like, no, this is not working, it's going. And then I downloaded a pattern for a hat. I won't name the midden pattern. It's, if you really want to know, it is in my project page, in my projects as a forked project and an I just wasn't happy with the pattern. There were some mistakes in it as well. It wasn't very clear. I thought, I don't want to bash the pattern. It's just because I wasn't that used to that way of writing it, and I get confused when people say repeat 3 times. I take it to mean you repeat it for 3 times total, so you knit that piece 3 times total, which is, and I think I've had it clearer when it says 3 more times to know that it means 4, because you meant 4. But that's just personal preference, and I don't know why I'm so grumpy about this pattern. It was really not that bad. It just, I added the note that you really should knit a full pattern repeat before starting the thumb gusset, because it just fits way better that way. I think maybe even 2. And there was a mistake in one of the rows. I have that on my project page. It wasn't that bad. I don't know why I'm so grumpy about it. Not angry, grumpy. I was so happy to be knitting with my handspun, and then I was like, no, this is not it. And I needed to be perfect for my handspun. I'm very picky, and it wasn't, and I was a little disappointed. But that happens, right? I'm sure people have that with my patterns too, if it's not what they expected. I think one of the reasons I'm grumpy is because I've been looking for ages for the perfect pattern. I couldn't find anything, and then I finally found these mittens. And it just didn't work out. The pattern in the yarn didn't work out as great. You could see the pattern, but it was a little messy. I don't know. It just wasn't a good match, which is a little disappointing because I've been searching so long. I want to cast on something with some handspun. I'm not sure what. I definitely want to cast on this because it was a very relaxing knit, very easy. Apart from the lace, you need to pay attention during the lace, but it's not that hard. And that sweater is very fun to knit on. It's very soft and squishy, and considering that I usually knit only with fingering weight yarn, going to a bulky is quite enjoyable. That's it, I think. I also want to focus on the test for the Run Wild socks. It's going very well. It's almost done, I think, and yeah, I hope to have more information on the pattern release for you next week. And I have the next pattern ready for testing. I just need to give it one more read through, so I think I'll be posting that tonight or tomorrow on the Free Pattern Testers group at Ravelry. It's for this socks. And yeah, that's it, I think. I don't have any big plans this week yet, although I did just here at my lunch that we're probably going to dinner on Sunday, next Sunday, not this Sunday, for my parents' anniversary, wedding anniversary. And next week is also Castle Fest. It's a local sort of Renaissance fair, I think describes it best, but it's all about the fantasy, and they have amazing stands, and there's great music, and I've been for the last 3 years, I think. I usually go with my sister, but my sister, as you know, if you've watched before, is in Korea, so we can't go together this year, but I think I'd like to go anyway, just in regular clothes for this time. I usually go in a dress and stuff like that, and my plan is to make a handmade dress, hand sewn, like the big ball gown type dress, just a costume really. And I haven't gotten around to that yet, so I will do that for next year, I hope. But this year I think just comfortable in my own clothes, not dressing up, on a quieter day, not Saturday. Saturday's completely sold out this year already, so I don't have a choice anyway. But yeah, I'm hoping maybe Friday we can pop in there, just have some look around, just relax, not stay. We don't have to stay the entire day, just easy. They have some great yarny sections too. They have like these sections with people reenacting history and stuff like that, and they have people sitting on spinning wheels, there's sheep, and you can buy yarn there, hand spun yarn from one of the people, or you can buy fiber. Last year I bought some a purple braid and a rainbow braid, and I bought some unwashed fiber. And you can make your own tea, and you can try on a bunch of crazy outfits. There's a lot of clothing stands as well. There's great food, not much gluten-free unfortunately, but if you can eat gluten, go there, it's amazing. They also have mead. It's not my drink, but I really enjoyed hearing that this year they have, I'm not allowed to drink it anymore, I think anyway, but they have mead ice cream because it's going to be warm, and it's so cute. Castle Fest is just a place with nice people, good music, good food, and relaxed. And you get to be as crazy and weird as you want to be. You can dress up like whatever you want to be. Whether it's a Viking or a warlock or something like that, anything goes. And it's just really fun to see people really being themselves and just having fun and listening to music, and it's one of my happy places, so I would like to go, I think. I'm feeling fit enough that I can go at least for a few hours, I think, so I'm excited. I'm gonna work on going. That was it for this week. I hope you have a lovely week, and I hope this episode didn't turn out too long. I feel like I've been chatting forever. Put some stuff away. I should have just finished the episode before putting stuff away, but okay, whatever. I'm distracted. I'm going to end this here. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you again next week. Bye.